What's going on, YouTube? So we're back at it again. Last week, absolute disappointment. So many things went wrong in that lineup. I can't even begin to start with any one thing that really cost us the most. Um, at the end of the day, shit happens, right? So, sorry if anyone played my lineups and didn't cash. I apologize. I think I cashed on about 2 or 3 of my lineup configurations, but definitely took an L last week. So, but it's week one. Going into the playoffs. This is the wild card week. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into it, build a lineup that I think will do very well in GPP this week. We obviously have a short slate, only 4 games for the Sunday slate. So we're going to go ahead and jump in, or Sunday for the main slate. So we're going to jump in and start off at QB, and let's get this thing going. So first, we're going to go with Matt Moore. He has been declared as the starter for Miami, going against Pittsburgh. Now, Matt Moore isn't going to be your top tier, Aaron Rodgers or Ben Roethlisberger type quarterback, but at nearly minimum salary, $5,100, he's a must play this week. I think Pittsburgh's going to definitely air it out a lot. They're going to try to control the clock as much as they can. With Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown expected to go absolutely ham on the Miami defense, I think they're going to run up that clock and require Miami to really pass a lot. Which adds value to Matt Moore. At $5,100, 15 points is all we're really looking for. Anything over and above that would be just golden. There's not a huge sample size to use, to judge a quarterback like this, since he is stepping in as a backup for injured quarterback in the position. So I would say, looking at his trend, over 15 points every week. New England's defense, I think, is a little bit better than Pittsburgh's, or a lot better than Pittsburgh, and he went for 3x his value then. Going back a few weeks to the Jets, obviously their defense isn't great, but 24 points. If we can get close to that this week, I think we're golden. I expect Matt Moore to be fairly high owned. Now, the quarterbacks this week, there's not a lot of options. I think the trend is going to be more towards Stafford if you're looking for a value QB, or going and paying up for, someone like an Aaron Rodgers or Ben Roethlisberger. So Matt Moore is who we're locking in at QB this week. And remember, this is GPP, so we are going to take a little bit of a risk. Obviously, at running back, you've got to go for the chalk. Unfortunately, this week with such a short slate, you're going to have to pay up somewhere. And this week, I'm definitely going to be paying up for Le'Veon Bell. At $10,300, we need 30 points against Miami's defense. I think that's easily possible. Going back to when they played Miami last, he did have 18 points, so just shy of, 2x. At that point, it was quite a bit lower. His value was, or his price was $7,500, $7,900. But still, at 10-3, I think he's good for 25, 30 points this week. They are going to try to control the clock, keep the flow in favor of Pittsburgh. They are favored to win this week. So I expect Le'Veon Bell to have a huge workload, and that's why we're locking in Le'Veon Bell for our chalk of the week. And I would expect his ownership to be around 98%, unfortunately. But you can't fade a guy with his upside. You just can't fade him. So we're going to take our chances. Now, I guess if he doesn't go off, it hurts everybody. So a value running back this week, we're actually going to go with Zach Zenner for Detroit against Seattle. I think this is going to be a matchup people will fade. I don't think anyone's really going to want to stack Zenner going against that Seattle defense. On a normal slate, I'd probably fade him as well. But given the week and the limited options, we need to differentiate ourselves. And I think sometimes taking that high-risk play, like with Zach Zenner against Seattle's defense, might pay off. I mean, the guy's going to get bulk of the carries, 20 attempts last week. Looking over the last 2 weeks, 20 and 12 attempts, just shy of 70 yards both of those weeks and 3 touchdowns. So he's getting the goal line carries. He's going to have the opportunity to punch one in every week now that he is definitely the starter. And, Seattle has weaknesses. They're not unstoppable on the ground. At 21 points last week, 23 points the week before. Green Bay's defense, rush defense, is definitely better than Seattle. Seattle definitely has their strong suit is in the secondary. So I think Zach Zenner has an opportunity this week to punch one in. Maybe even a little play action pass for a possible touchdown. Wouldn't be out of the question. 4 receptions, 2 receptions, 4 receptions. So he is being utilized in the pass game, not for big yardage, but in a PPR like DraftKings. That's just added points to sweeten it up. So at $4,500, if we can get 12 to 15 points out of him this week, I'll be happy. So Zach Zenner at running back. Next up, we're going with Devontae Adams. So I was in between going Devontae Adams and a few other options. The thing this week is I expect Green Bay New York Giants game to be a shootout. Both teams are really gunning this week. Um, Green Bay, very explosive offense, has the potential to throw for 4 touchdowns with Aaron Rodgers. And when that generally happens, it's Devontae Adams and Jordy Nelson are the 2 recipients of those touchdowns. And I don't think that's going to change this week. New York Giants have been playing some pretty decent defense. Um, Now, I think they're going to hone more in on Jordy Nelson. Will they shut him out? I doubt it. As we continue with this lineup, you'll see I'm also looking at Jordy Nelson as well. But Devontae Adams this week is a must-play for me. And I'm just going to keep that whole game short and sweet. I mean, you know what Green Bay is going to do. They're going to gun for it. 4 touchdowns I expect this week, 3 to 4. And I think Adams and Nelson are both going to be in line for a touchdown this week. Now, Nelson, he is $8,000. I generally don't stack 2 receivers from the same team, but in the case with Green Bay and your 2 receivers are your 2 top receivers, I'm willing to do it. Jordy Nelson, you don't got to say much. 14 touchdowns on the season already. Phenomenal. Potential MVP candidate. And I think he's up for the most touchdown receptions, assuming what he does this week, maybe the most touchdown receptions from a wide receiver this season. So we are stacking Devontae Adams and Jordy Nelson. And then we're going to go with Richardson for Seattle. So Paul Richardson, he's nothing flashy, but he is obviously a deep threat guy. I mean, he's going to be working that outside. He's going to have the big play potential. He has 2 games of 4 receptions against San Francisco and Arizona, 5 and 7 targets, 40 yards, both of those, and a touchdown. So I would say his ceiling is probably going to be around 13, 14 points. With his floor somewhere, now that he's in the starting lineup, somewhere around 8 points. So I expect at minimum 6, 7 points out of him. So 2x as his floor. But I think he has the upside of going 5, 6, 7x if it works out in his favor. Detroit secondary is not the greatest. I think if they can get him on one breakout pass, go 60-plus yards for a reception and a touchdown, I mean, right there, your money. So definitely Paul Richardson. I think his ownership will still be fairly low. There's not a huge sample size on him. And I think with the options that are available out there at that mid to low range tier, there's a few other guys that people might be picking on. So at tight end, we're going Eric Ebron. Going against Seattle again, I think a lot of people will fade this. They're scared of that Seattle defense. Ebron is definitely stepping back into the limelight. He's being utilized 6 targets, 12 and 7 over the last 3 games. That's a lot of usage. I mean, we're looking at 25 plus targets over the last 3 weeks, and at $4,000, 12 to 15 points were solid. Now with tight ends, it seems to be a trend. Whenever a tight end is hot, they kind of go cold for a week or 2. I'm hoping that's not going to happen this week. I think Ebron will be the go-to tight end to play this week. Jimmy Graham I like as well, but at his price tag, I just didn't want to pay up for it. So I like Ebron. And then last, we're going to run with Jarvis Landry. So stacked with Matt Moore. I think Landry's got a big game ahead of him. Going against Pittsburgh, like I said, Pittsburgh's expected to take this one. I think the scoreboard's going to rack up quick. Miami's struggling this year, so they are going to have to really air it out, and I think Landry's going to be the recipient. I also think Devontae Parker is also in for a big game. He might be a sneaky play as well if you're looking to cut down on some salary. He is a little bit cheaper than Jarvis Landry. But really, I think Landry's the guy to play for Miami this week. Looking last week against New England, pretty good defense, honestly, much better than Pittsburgh. He went for 76 yards on 12 targets, 9 receptions, and a touchdown. If we can get that out of him again this week, same numbers, we're money. So I like Jarvis Landry. And then, of course, the one defense I think probably going to be around, 90% owned is going to be the Texans against Oakland. They're running their 3rd-string QB. Even if he makes something happen and a miracle happens this week, I still think Texans are going to pick apart that offense. I think the score is going to be very low for Oakland. They have a few running back options, but I'm sorry, you can't win a game on just straight running backs. Their wide receivers for Oakland are going to be shut out. They just don't have a QB with the confidence that they need going against that Houston defense. Houston, I don't think is going to really be explosive offensively either. I think this is going to be a very low-scoring game. So Oakland might not be a bad defense to play as well. They're going to have to carry a lot of the weight. But I expect Oakland is going to have a very tired offense and defense. I mean, they're going to get overworked because they're going to be on the field the whole time. So I would say Houston's a safer play, but Oakland might be a sneaky play as well. But that's the lineup I'm running this week for GPP. With not a lot of options, I feel very, very good about this. So Matt Moore stacked with Jarvis Landry. We got Le'Veon Bell and Zach Zenner. Adams and Nelson stacked for the Green Bay game. Paul Richardson and Eric Ebron. And then followed up with Texans at D. So that's my lineup. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you like this lineup, please smash that like button, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you have any suggestions, what you're playing, what you like and don't like about the lineup. I'm always open to conversation. Do not troll my page. If you leave any trolley type comments, I'm just going to block you and delete the comments. So let's keep it clean, keep it respectful. Do not troll me, please. And let's have a good week this week. I really expect this to be a bounce back week with the short slate. I feel really good about this. And yeah, let's go make some money. Good luck this week, guys, and take care.